everyone! It's me, Sweetie Peas. I'm back with another very special story today. Now, a long time ago, I read a book called Yuko-Chan and the Daruma Doll by Sunny Seki. You probably remember that video, although it was a long time ago. Well, I'm reading it again today because this last month I had the opportunity to meet the author, Sunny Seki himself. I'll show you a picture. It'll be right here. Isn't that exciting? I got to meet him and talk to him, and he encouraged me to continue doing my channel, this channel, where I read to you. So, thank you, Seki-san. Okay, everyone, are you ready to get back into the story? All right, here we go. This is Yuko-Chan and the Daruma Doll. The adventures of a blind Japanese girl who saves her village. This story is about Daruma dolls. They're cute little dolls that look kind of like this. You find them all over Japan. Maybe you've seen one. They're usually bright red and very round, and you'll find out why.
Page.
In Japan, there is an active volcano called Mount Asama. 200 years ago, it erupted in flames. It then shot out ashes that covered the surrounding villages and damaged all the crops. In the village of Takasaki, there lived an orphaned blind girl who stayed at the Daruma temple. Her name was Yuko-Chan, or Warm Water Girl, because she had such a warm, gentle personality. One night, the head monk, Osho-san, met with village representatives to talk about ways to recover from the disaster. Yuko-chan overheard their worried voices and tried to calm them by serving green tea. The men could not think of a solution, so they began to read from their scriptures. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew out the candles, plunging the room into darkness. Everybody grew silent, except for Yuko-chan, who continued reciting the prayers without skipping a word. "Why did you all stop?" she asked. "We can't read in the dark," they answered. "Wow, I guess I'm not so handicapped after all," she joked. They laughed, realizing that Yuko-chan had memorized all the words. The temple had a school where Osho-san taught children about Daruma-san, as well as how to read and to write. Yuko-chan did not attend the school, but she always listened carefully to the lessons. She was eager to learn everything she could about Daruma-san. One day, when Osho-san had stepped out, the students jumped up to play with the musical instruments. Suddenly, there was a shout. "Everyone, stop! You are not in harmony!" It was Yuko-chan, who then began beating the taiko in perfect rhythm. "Dong chiki-chin, dong chiki-chin," she said as she led the others. Osho-san returned and was very impressed. "Wow," he said to himself. "This sounds like a concert. Yuko-chan has talent, but I don't want any unruly behavior in this sacred place." "Enough," he shouted. "These instruments are not toys. Let's get back to studying." Then Osho-san spoke very seriously. "If we want to survive the loss of our crops, our village needs to find other ways to get money. In this difficult time, we must remember the teaching of our founder, Daruma-san." He was a monk who preached all the way from India to China, meditating on Buddha's teachings for 9 years. And though his arms and legs became numb, he still continued to spread his message. If you fall 7 times, you must pick yourself up 8 times. You need strong faith and the belief that you can accomplish your goals. These words inspired Yuko-chan. One night, Yuko-chan was startled awake by a suspicious sound. Shiba, her guide dog, heard it too. Shiba, I think someone is tipping over the donation box. Osho-san said that's what people do when they want to steal money. Shiba started to growl. Shh, she whispered. Let's catch the thief. I'll get your leash. You stay quiet until I say to bark. Yuko-Chan tiptoed outside and shouted, Don't move, or I'll release the dog. Shiba started to bark loudly. In the moonlight, a young man stood frozen with a handful of coins. Please don't let your dog attack me, he cried. My father is sick, and I need to buy him some medicine. Yuko-Chan felt sorry for him. Okay, but you had better leave before Osho-san gets here. Osho-san arrived in time to see the man running away. I wish our temple could do more to help those people, he sighed. Osho-san began visiting villagers to collect extra food for people in need. Yuko-Chan often tagged along with Shiba at her side. At one of the houses, she recognized a familiar voice talking with Osho-san. It was the thief. My father was sick, but I was able to buy some good medicine, and now he is feeling better. I'm glad to hear that, said Osho-san. Yuko-Chan was relieved that this young man, named Kenta, had used the money from the temple honestly. She didn't tell Osho-san that Kenta had stolen it. One day, Osho-san was away, and it was up to Yuko-Chan and Shiba to deliver the food alone. After stopping at Kenta's house, they turned back towards the temple. As they traveled, it started to snow, and Yuko-Chan became disoriented by the weather. She accidentally took a wrong path, one that led into the mountains. Shiba, I think we're lost. No sooner had Yuko-Chan spoken these words than she stumbled and they both tumbled over a cliff. Luckily, Yuko-Chan landed on her soft backpack and Shiba plopped onto the powdery snow. Help! Help! Yuko-Chan called, but there was no response. Feeling thirsty, she reached around for her tea gourd, but it kept dropping from her shivering fingers. Suddenly, Yuko-Chan noticed something very unusual. Shiba, this is mysterious. Every time I drop the gourd, it rolls upside down, and then koro-koro-rin, it comes back up again. Yuko-Chan was so fascinated that she forgot they were lost. Look, the frozen tea in the bottom keeps the gourd upright. Even though it falls, it gets up again, just like Daruma-san's teachings. And the shape is just like his, no arms and no legs. Then she had a bright idea. What if we made these at the temple and called them Daruma Dolls? Could we sell them and save our village? It was an exciting idea, but she was really starting to feel cold, so Yuko-Chan cuddled up with Shiba under a tree. As she dozed off, she felt like she heard a distant voice calling her name. Yuko-Chan, are you there? It was Kenta, who had gone searching for them. Arf, arf, answered Shiba. Yuko-Chan was so relieved. Oh, Kenta, thank you for finding us. We are safe, but we need help. They returned to Kenta's house for a hearty dinner. Yuko-Chan enthusiastically explained her idea and asked for advice. You should use bamboo, Kenta's father suggested. Kenta showed her how to weave the stems together. Kenta then lowered his head and quietly said, I need to apologize to you and the temple. What I did was... Yuko-Chan interrupted. We can't dwell on what's been done in the past, Kenta. We have to think about how we can make our future better. Kenta's eyes brightened. I will be happy to help your project by donating bamboo to the temple. Yuko-Chan returned home and started to test many ideas. She finally decided to place a rock in the bottom, add a paper covering, and then paint the entire doll. This dream had to come true. Finally, the doll was ready to be presented to Osho-san. When the children saw it, they began to laugh. Look at that funny ball. Yuko-Chan ignored them as she approached Osho-san. Yuko-Chan proclaimed, I believe that Daruma-san will save our village. Osho-san replied, Yuko-chan, I only wish it were that simple. But that is why I've made this doll. It honors Daruma-san's words. If you fall down 7 times, you should get up 8 times. I hope we can sell these to save our village. The children continued teasing. What's that? A broken ball is Daruma-san? Who ever heard of that? However, Osho-san was intrigued. Let me see how it works. He released the doll on the ground. It rolled over and over, and then it stood upright. At first, the children grew silent, but then they suddenly started to cheer. This is wonderful. We will sell these at the spring festival, Osho-san said as he tested the doll again and again. He noticed that Yuko-chan had left the doll's eyes blank. We will honor this by suggesting that people darken the left pupil when they make a wish, and the right pupil when the wish comes true. We are going to be busy. Yuko-chan was overjoyed. The villagers loved the idea and rushed to begin making their own dolls. Somehow, the dolls always seemed to look a little bit like the people who had made them. The spring festival came, and people flocked from far and wide to buy the clever Daruma dolls. Yuko-chan beat the taiko, and Kenta played his flute. The joyful people could not help but dance to the catchy rhythm of the music. From that day forward, the village was saved. Even today, the Daruma dolls of Takasaki are the most famous in all of Japan. Sometime later, Yuko-chan left the village to study under a famous taiko teacher. Kenta, whose father was now healthy, escorted her. As they left the village, he noticed the smoke rising from Mount Asama. Yuko-chan, it's the shape of the Daruma doll. She smiled and said, just think, if the volcano had not erupted, there never would have been Daruma dolls. What started as a disaster had turned into a golden opportunity for everyone. The end. I really hope you enjoyed that story. I have a very special copy of the book. Seki-san, who wrote the book, actually signed the book for me, right down here. It says, to Nessa, fall 7 times, get up 8 times. Isn't that nice? Thank you so much for joining me today for this very, very special story. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.